Hi there, I'm Sadie Olds, your host of Boise State in the Community here at BTV. We're a service learning class that focuses on social justice issues and brings life to some community members who are doing something about it. I'm joined with a very special guest here today. He was born in India and is now a professor here at Boise State. He is a part of a Learning Living program and is such an inspiring individual. Thank you so much for joining me today, Dr. Krishna Pakala.
Thank you.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm great, and I'm so excited to share your story today. So, your journey started on the day you were born, correct? And what day would that be?
So that would be celebrated as Teachers' Day in India on September 5th. And it came about by a famous educator who was our former president of India. And they celebrate on September 5th as the Teachers' Day.
Nice. And didn't your grandmother have something to say about that? Didn't she say that you were going to be successful in that way?
Yeah, I never thought that I would be a professor or even work in a university, while I knew that I would get the education. And she would always tell me that one day I will become professor. And here I am. I'm a professor now.
Yeah, and so your grandmother, she was a big inspiration in your life, correct?
Yes, she was one of the big inspirations, and I asked her why she wanted me to become a faculty member, and then she shared the story when I was young that her husband died at a young age with a heart attack in his sleep. And he was a school principal, headmaster, and he wanted to serve the education community. And she thought that I would be somebody who would, kind of fulfill her dream and his dream. And I hope one day when the sun sets, I will probably, have her see what I achieved.
Nice, that's so wonderful. And so she's always been a big part of your life, and you struggled a little bit in high school and finding your career, but she gave you some inspiring words, correct? What would those be?
Yeah, so, students think that professors are always like these rock stars, but we all are humans and we go through life like everybody else. And there were times in my life where I'm the eldest in my family, and my brother and sisters were always top in their school, and I was always lagging behind. And my parents were like, why is he struggling in school? They never really scolded me or anything, but they were like worried what would happen to me, whether I would be successful in life for myself. And then there was a time where I was so nervous about exams, I said I will not take the exam. I just shut my door and I was crying. And my grandmother came and she brought my friend too, and she put this red powder that I have between my eyebrows.
What's it called?
It's called bindi. If for people to look at it, they look at it and say, what is that blood, or what is that, like kind of powder? And she said that it's between the two eyebrows are their sensitive nerves, which are the most powerful in terms of giving you energy, and having something like this cools you down and then also protects your powerful energy so that it is channeled in the right direction. And she said you should always, after you take a shower and pray, you should always put it on and go about your duties. And since then, that's something I kind of put on. And because for me, that confidence, we always have these superstitions. And then when she told me that story and how this helps, I said, okay, I will do that. And then next day I took the exam. And another funny thing was that we have in India, we have several gods, and especially I follow Hinduism as our religion, and we have a god called Hanuman. And his story is he's never confident. And then people have to egg him on and say all the good things he has done, and then he grows big to the point where nobody can beat him. And then that kind of inspires me even now when I feel down, that to think about all the things that I have accomplished to wherever I am, to think about those moments where my grandmother's blessings, and even though we all believe in different God, but it kind of inspires you to kind of egg other people on. Like in my profession, I have to inspire students, empower students. But then when I show them that I've been in their shoes and it's okay to fail, but this is how you can come back, I think it's been really inspirational for me to share my story with my students.
Yeah, no, that's so inspiring, and I'm sure that she had a great effect on who you are today. So you speak about an exam, and in India, what does this exam entail for you?
So in India, compared to the US education system, it's really cutthroat. We don't have much choice in terms of which major we pick, and even the exams, it's like one exam, and you do well, you move on, otherwise you have to repeat the year.
Yeah.
So it's very stressful, more than here, but at the same time, we are not that hands-on in terms of how we learn in the education system versus US. That's something I love, where students can try different things, like right now, what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So did you always want to be a professor? Because we spoke earlier in a meeting, and in India, it's either medical or mechanical. And I understand that you got a degree in engineering.
Yes. So I got my master's at Arizona State in mechanical engineering and PhD at University of Wyoming, which is also in mechanical engineering. Yeah. And I never wanted to be in the university setting as a professor, but it was because of my master's advisor who gave me an opportunity to be a teaching assistant. And during that, I was helping students, and he got good feedback from them, which I never realized that I was doing well. And then one day, he called me, he said, I have to go to France, and I committed to teach a class, but I can't right now, and we can't cancel the class. I have full faith in you. Will you be able to do it? I said, yes. And then he said, yeah, you'll get $8,000 for the summer, which was like a lot. Even now it is a lot for 3 months.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't even bother anything else. Like I was like, okay, we'll do it. And then that process of going through and teaching somebody, and also the fact that I'm from India, I have a different accent, and I felt like, how would I convey to them? But I felt like if you're human, if you can explain to them, it doesn't matter what language you speak in, as long as you can see in the student's eyes and see what they're struggling with. And that really said that, okay, I should be also exploring teaching. And then that's when I pursued my PhD. And then after that, I was applying for both industry and universities. And the first job offer I got from Boise State, if I didn't get that within a week, I would have to leave the university and the country.
Oh, wow.
And then rest is history. Since then, I've been at Boise State.
Nice. And do you like it here at Boise State? Are you a big fan?
Yeah, right now I'm embracing everything Boise State has to offer, like athletics and academics, and I have a lot of students in the basketball, football, and gymnastics, and they're awesome rock stars, and it's really inspiring to see them. Being an athlete is a full-time job, and also they're students, and then I try to kind of bring that in to other students and also inspire them to say that you could do it.
Yeah.
So it's been quite an experience to be a Bronco as a faculty member.
Nice. That's so awesome to hear. And you're extremely involved in our community here as well. So do you attend a lot of basketball games and stuff like that? And
Yeah. In fact, yesterday's game, which the women's team won, the four-peat, I actually wanted to be in Vegas for the game, but I had class and other commitment that I could not, but I watched it online, and then I was tweeting. So I've been to all the games this season except one game I missed because I was out of town. I went to both.
You only missed one game?
One game.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. So your grandmother, she obviously had a big impact. And what is one piece of advice that really stands out to you that she gave to you?
I think she always tells me to be who I am.
Nice.
And be honest with yourself. And no matter how big you grow in life, you should always remember the people who helped you along the way. And I think the biggest thing is she always encouraged me to give back whenever you can.
Nice. All right. Well, we have to go to break, unfortunately, but after this, we're going to learn about his living learning program. Dr. Pakala actually lives on campus here at Boise State, so you won't want to miss it. You're watching Boise State in the Community here on BTV.
Meal swipe is like when you swipe into BRC and it's cafeteria style, and you can like choose whatever you want. And like a meal replacement, it was when you go to a restaurant on campus and they have different options. So like at Subway, for example, you can get a 6-inch sandwich, a drink, and chips, and that would be like the meal replacement there. Other places on campus that do meal replacements are Panda Express, Grill Works, Einstein's. And if you don't want to get the meal replacement there, that's where you can use your flex dollars, and you can choose anything on the menu, but it will go out of your flex dollars instead of your meal swipes.
One of my favorite things has to be the fact that I'm vegan, and at first they did have a little bit of options, but housing made it really great for me to give feedback and say, well, I'm vegan and I have a meal plan and I can't cook and there's some options not available to me, and they responded immediately. And in the year after, they had a lot more vegan options and also gluten-free options, because my best friend was gluten-free, and we both talked to housing, and it said, you know, we could talk to them and they would give us these options, and it was on their website, and we were like, okay, we'll talk to you. It totally worked out.
You want to have a meal plan because you will not cook for yourself. You're going to think that you're going to cook for yourself and you're going to take care of yourself an adult. It's not going to happen. You're going to get busy, so you definitely want a meal plan.
Hi there, thank you for sticking around here at Boise State in the Community on BTV. Still with me is the wonderful and inspiring Dr. Krishna Pakala. So right before we went to break, we talked about your Living Learning program, right? And which Living Learning program are you a part of?
So I'm part of the Engineering and Innovation Living Learning program, which serves both the College of Engineering and College of Innovation and Design.
Nice. And how did you get started in that?
So several years ago, now this is my 6th year doing it, I was looking at a set of students in my class who were sophomores and were really engaged, and they were always together, and very attentive in the class, turning in the assignments, and are always like, having a good time in general. And then I saw a lot of students who had probably similar backgrounds, were struggling in the class, were not feeling part of a community. Then I asked them, how did you know each other? Where did that bonding start? Then they talked about, we all lived on the same floor and we were part of this living learning program where a professor lives on the same floor. I was like, oh, that was intriguing. And then I realized it is a great opportunity whenever I get the opportunity to be in the same position and see if I can kind of instill qualities which will help them in the long run, which I expect in my classes and for them in general to be successful. And then I ended up on a road trip with somebody who actually oversees that program, Melissa Wintro, at that point. And we chatted, and she said, oh, there is an opportunity here. The faculty member is leaving. And I realized that faculty member was my next door colleague. And then I spoke to him next day, and then we went and saw the space and met with the students. And then I really liked the concept, and I signed up to do the faculty in residence.
Nice, that's so wonderful. You saw a need for something in your community and you really wanted to change something about it. If someone was interested in joining an LLP, what would they expect from it? What extracurriculars do you guys do?
So we focus both on the academic side of things and also the social side of things, especially engineering is a hard major, and people already come with these preconceived notions of math, science, and the stress. So we kind of balance it between both academics and the social life. In fact, we are doing a snowshoeing trip in a couple of weeks.
Oh, fun.
Where we'll all go as a group. So we do rafting, we do a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah.
And also we bring in people from the industry and the faculty who can inspire students to, my motto is that students should dream big when they're young. And as a freshman, I think they have the most powerful energy, and if we can help them channel it in the right direction, then they will make the best use in that 4 years. For example, I just now got a text from somebody who was in my program 4 years ago. She's graduating, and she just got into a PhD program at Carnegie Mellon.
Oh,
and that was her #1 pick, and I was so happy to see somebody who was living with me as a freshman to achieve that big honor is something that is special.
Yeah, that must have been so rewarding for you.
Yes, that's the biggest award I think anybody can get, is to see, students succeed like that.
Nice, that's so awesome. And I understand that you live with your family, right?
Yes.
In Morrison Hall.
Yes.
What's that like for you?
Yeah, so my son was 3.5, 4 years old when he came into the Living Learning program, and there were a lot of Lego sets built with the other students. I think it gives a sense of family and an extended family for the students and also for us. When you talk about community, I think community involves everybody, and I think in a university setting, to have the family also be part of the work and also be part of the fun is a special thing. And I think it has really helped me and also kind of for my son to see what college is like, even though he may not understand everything,
Yeah.
but to kind of see that process that people go through to get to school and all the fun stuff they do.
Yeah, nice. That must be super interesting and for him to grow up on a college campus.
Yes.
So when you're joining an LLP, do you go to meetings or anything, and what do those meetings consist of?
So for the students?
Yeah, for the students.
So for the students, we have, it's a one-year program, and the first semester, the way we run it have been that help them on a student development model, where we kind of say, before you become a world-class engineer, you need to be a world-class engineering student. And that doesn't mean you have to do awesome things. It just means you show up to class, be attentive, take notes, like simple stuff that we teach all the time, but people don't put it in practice. So things like that. And then the second semester, they typically work in teams on a project together so that they get something tangible out of the experience and then present it with the senior design. That's how I've been running it for several years. And then it changes based on what I think I want to try each year. But it is something that is focused on helping them get the most out of their first year so that it acts as a springboard for them to continue on in whatever major they pick. I have students who switch majors.
Yeah.
The way I look at it is it's the money that you are putting in, and then your interests and passions will change, but as long as you value that and then say, I want to get the biggest bang for my buck, I don't care what you become, because we need everybody in this world. It's about you become somebody who will make an impact is the most important thing.
Nice. Yeah, we do need everybody in this world. That's super inspiring. Is it hard for you to separate your family life from your students' life and your mentoring side?
For me, it has become something where I can't separate anything. It's tough sometimes to kind of have a life where I come in, I'm still in the university setting, but I feel like that's what my calling was, and we are somehow, have learned how to make it work, and I've committed to do one more year of faculty in residence. I seem not to find a way to get out of it because I love it so much. I've seen a lot of great things come out of the program, a lot of successful students, and it has transformed my life in terms of what I think I should be able to contribute, what my commitment should look like in the near future. I think it has been a big rewarding experience even for me.
Yeah, and so you and your Living Learning program students all have gone on a bunch of trips, is this correct? What was your favorite trip out of all of them?
I think the rafting trips are always fun. There was one where I actually dislocated my shoulder.
No way.
While it may not be a fun experience, it was one where, I saw how community comes together. I had to be transported in an ambulance, and I asked them to still go ahead and do the trip. It was one of those.
This was your favorite trip?
That was my favorite trip because, adventure is not something I seek that much, and then this was probably the most adventurous it can get, and I have a story to tell. I kind of tweak it whenever I talk to some people. I say, I actually fell in the river to save some lives, and people who know the joke understand, oh no, he dislocated his shoulder.
Oh, that is so funny. Wow, it sounds like you guys have a lot of fun at the LLPs. Would you recommend all students to look into one and consider joining one?
Yeah, right now, the way it is set up, we can't accommodate everybody who's interested, but I think it's one where I think it provides a different layer of support for students, and I think for whoever at whatever stage in their life, if they have that kind of support, rest is in their hands. And I think I highly recommend for people, especially those who are coming in now as freshmen, who will, when the housing opens up in March soon, they should apply.
Yeah. Well, that was so inspiring and so interesting that you actually live on campus with your family. But sadly, we have to take a break. And after that, we will be talking about his engineering and professional life. So you won't want to miss it here at Boise State in the Community on BTV.
Moving onto campus my first year was a really, really big deal. It was the first time out of the house, first time living with so many people that I don't quite know. And so preparing for that, one of the first things I did was obviously look at the floor plan, see what I could fit into my room, what I should bring, what I should not bring. And then the next step was really money. So thinking about how I was going to pay for it, considering on-campus jobs, of which I've had a few, and it definitely helped in being able to pay rent and being able to live on campus and be a student effectively.
So one thing that was great for parents is just one inclusive payment. We really enjoyed that. It made it very easy. But as well, having someone here to help her out, having the support services was big for us. Knowing that there was resident advisors, resident directors, and also academic offerings for her at the residence hall was huge. Knowing that she'd be taken care of financially and as well as being very helpful to her to succeed at school.
Hi there, thank you for sticking around here at Boise State in the Community on BTV. Joining me still is the wonderful Dr. Krishna Pakala. So you got your degrees from University of Wyoming and where else?
Arizona State University.
And you pursued this because, what was your reasoning?
So in India, we have two paths, basically. Either you become a doctor or you become an engineer. I don't know whether it changed, but several years ago, that was the choice we had. And I was good with math and science. And then I said, okay, I'll pick engineering. And then I chose mechanical engineering because we have a system in India where if we qualify based on an exam, we get what is known as a free seat, where you don't have to pay for school other than your books, or a paid seat where you have to pay for a popular major. Like computer science at that point was very popular. So I wanted to save money. I said mechanical engineering is the broadest field, and I will use computers in there as well. So I chose mechanical engineering, and then since then, all my degrees have been in mechanical engineering.
Nice, and you are a wonderful professor here at Boise State, and you have, if you look up your profile, there are lists of awards. What is one of your favorite awards that you have been given?
I think the most recent was when I was honored as a top 10 faculty mentor for a top 10 scholar. It's the highest academic award a student can get on campus. And when they choose you as an honored faculty, I think it is the most rewarding thing to have them kind of honor you and say I was part of their journey at some point is special.
Oh, that's so nice. And for you, what does it take to be a great engineer?
I think first, a lot of people forget that for any profession, first you need to be a good human and have civility in everything you do and just be honest with people. But for an engineer, I think the more importance right now with all the devices and things that we make, to have empathy and how we design things and how we kind of look at what what it impacts with people, and then how do we bring in people from other disciplines when we design something is probably the most important thing. Like, when we talk about diversity and inclusion, I think having more representation in terms of ideas, in terms of perspectives is very important, both locally and also the international influx is very important for us to grow and innovate.
Yeah, and so you mentioned empathy. Do you think empathy is something that we all need in our lives?
I think that's how we grow. When we can relate to something or somebody is how we can always, have them, trust us, and also they then realize that they are capable and they can do more. I think it's probably one of the most important things,
Yeah, of course. What would you recommend to someone who was interested in getting an engineering degree? What path do you think they should take? Should they go mechanical?
So for me, they have to kind of experience why they like a particular field. The way you identify to a profession takes some time. I think having the grit and following the rigor is very important. And engineering is one field where you need to be passionate in terms of building and creating, which means you need to have some artistic skills as well. And I think the most important thing is you need to be a good communicator. And once you can, then you can sell anything and whatever devices you make and stuff. So I think having that kind of mindset where they kind of see the art, science, and engineering all integrated together is going to be helpful.
Nice, yeah. And you teach a couple classes here at Boise State, correct?
Yes.
What would a class like yours look like? Like if a potential student were to be interested in one of your classes, what would you say?
Yeah, I think my class would look like a community. And if you come in, maybe after first couple of weeks, you'll see that we are carrying on conversations from last night as if we were friends. At the same time, we are talking about some of the most important, challenging concepts. But I think it is one of the probably friendly environments where students feel comfortable on asking questions, and it's more of a platform where we are all building the knowledge together is what they can experience in my class.
Yeah, so you like to make your classes feel more like a community. Do you think that really helps students grasp knowledge better?
Yeah, I think, when they see us as humans and when we understand that their emotional well-being is more important than how much they know about their subject is when they will come to you. And then once they come to you, then you can take anything to them. I think it's very, very important. Right now I have a student who I have not seen for a couple of weeks, and it's a worry thing for me. But I've sent him an email, and we'll see whether he responds, and then if not, there are resources on campus, but sometimes those are the important things that we need to, as professors, pay attention to, because if we see students as just numbers in the classroom, I think we are doing a bad job.
Yeah, that's so inspiring. You care so deeply about your students. If you could give one piece of advice to one of your students about pursuing a career, what would it be?
I think one of the biggest things that we underestimate is seeking help. When I say it's not like out of desperation or anything, I think understanding that there are a lot of people who have gone through the experiences. I think just saying that you have the growth mindset, which our president talks about quite a bit, I think it's quite relevant. We all go through ups and downs, but I think from helping them understand that it's okay to learn from others is, I think, the biggest thing that we all can learn.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Dr. Pakala. Sadly, that's all the time that we have today. You are such an inspiring professor, and I am so thankful to get to know you. I would like to thank our producer, Nikki Pena, our director, Taylor West, our technical man, Jonathan Palmer. I'm Sadie Olds. I've been your host of Boise State in the Community here at BTV. Thank you. Good night.